Every year, thousands of soldiers train for war. But no one on Earth ever trained for what happened on a planet called Velmer 9. A single human cadet landed there. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't even fully trained. But within 1 hour, an entire alien army believed Earth had built a living weapon and sent it to destroy them. But the truth behind this will shock you. This story will reveal 3 things nobody expects. First, why low gravity turned an ordinary man into something the aliens couldn't understand. Second, why the aliens' own science told them humans were weak, and why that belief nearly destroyed them. Third, what really happened in the final minutes, when the cadet did something no alien had ever seen a human do. Let me show you exactly how this happened. His name was Ethan Cole. He was 23 years old. He was not the strongest cadet in his class. He was not the fastest. He was not the smartest with machines. But he never quit. That was the one thing everyone remembered about him. Ethan grew up in a small town in Ohio. His father worked at a factory. His mother was a nurse. They did not have much money, but they had enough love to fill the house. Ethan always looked up at the night sky. He wanted to go to space. He told his mother this when he was 7 years old. She smiled and said, "Then work hard, and maybe one day you will." Years later, Earth joined a large group of planets called the Trade Alliance. Humans were new to this alliance. Many alien species did not respect humans. They called humans soft creatures. They said humans broke bones too easily. They said humans could not survive on strange worlds. Some aliens even laughed at humans in public meetings. Ethan did not care about that. He only wanted to serve. He joined the Earth Space Cadet program. This program trained young men and women to work on alliance ships. It was not the top warrior training. It was more like logistics and supply training. Cadets moved cargo. They fixed machines. They helped build stations on new planets. It was simple work. But it was still dangerous, because space is never truly safe. Ethan trained for 2 years. He learned to read alien machine parts. He learned basic space survival. He learned how to use a maglift belt, a device that helps a person move heavy things in different gravity levels. He was average in most tests. But his instructors noticed one thing. He never gave up, even when his body was tired. He would fall down, get back up, and try again. This habit would later save his life. On the day everything changed, Ethan was assigned to a supply ship called the Orion Bridge. This ship carried food, tools, and metal parts to Alliance planets. It was a normal job. Nothing exciting. Ethan was excited anyway. This was his first deep space mission. The ship traveled for many weeks. Ethan worked in the cargo bay. He checked crates. He repaired small machines. He talked with his crewmates about home. He missed his mother's cooking. He missed the sound of rain on his roof back in Ohio. But he loved being in space. He loved looking out the window at the stars. One day, the ship received new orders. It needed to stop at a planet called Velmer 9. This planet was known for one strange thing. It had very low gravity. Much lower than Earth. Much lower than most planets in the Alliance. Scientists said a person could jump 3 times higher there than on Earth. The Alliance built a small training academy on Velmer 9. Young alien soldiers trained there because low gravity made injuries less painful if something went wrong. The Orion Bridge needed to drop off heavy steel supplies at this academy. The captain asked for 2 volunteers to carry the supplies from the ship to the storage building. Ethan raised his hand first. His friend, a young woman named Priya, raised her hand too. The captain said yes to both. Nobody knew this simple supply drop would change everything. The ship landed gently on Velmer 9. The academy looked huge from outside. Its walls were tall and gray. Large windows showed rows of alien cadets training inside. These aliens were called Dove. They were tall, with pale blue-white skin and large eyes. They were known across the galaxy as serious warriors. They respected strength above all else. They believed humans had none. Ethan and Priya put on their gravity boots. These boots helped balance movement in low gravity. They stepped out of the ship. The moment Ethan's boot touched the ground, he felt strange. His body felt light, like he was floating in water. He almost fell over from surprise. Priya laughed and grabbed his arm. "Easy there, cowboy," she said. "This planet doesn't want you falling on your face." Ethan laughed too. He steadied himself. He looked around. Alien cadets stopped their training to stare at the 2 humans. Some whispered. Some pointed. A few laughed quietly. Ethan heard one alien say, in broken Earth language, "Weak creatures. Why are they even here?" Ethan felt his face grow hot with embarrassment. But he did not respond. His father once told him, "Never fight words with anger. Fight them with actions." Ethan remembered that. He and Priya began unloading the crates. Each crate held heavy steel plates used for building repairs. On Earth, one plate would weigh over 200 pounds. Here, because of low gravity, it felt much lighter, but it was still large and hard to carry through doorways. As they worked, more alien cadets gathered to watch. It became a strange show for them, watching the weak humans struggle with heavy Earth cargo. Some aliens made bets on how long it would take the humans to give up. Ethan did not know this yet, but something inside the storage building was about to break. And when it did, everything the aliens believed about humans would be destroyed in less than 1 minute. The storage building was old. It had been used for many years without proper repair. The Dove military did not always spend money on old buildings. They believed appearance mattered less than results. This mistake would soon become very dangerous. Ethan and Priya carried the last few crates inside. The room was tall, with large metal shelves reaching up to the ceiling. Thick steel beams held up the roof. These beams were called support poles. They were old, rusted in some places, but still considered safe by the Academy's inspectors. Priya placed her crate on a lower shelf. Ethan walked toward a higher shelf to place his. As he lifted his arms, he heard a strange creaking sound above him. It was faint at first, almost nothing. Then it grew louder. A deep groaning sound, like metal bending under pressure. Ethan froze. He looked up. One of the large steel support beams near the ceiling was cracking. Small pieces of rust and dust fell down like snow. The whole shelf structure connected to it began to shake. "Priya, move!" Ethan shouted. Priya turned just in time to see the beam snap loose from its top bolt. It began falling, twisting sideways as it dropped. Because of the low gravity, it fell slower than it would on Earth, but it was still heavy enough to crush anyone underneath it. And directly below the falling beam stood 3 young alien cadets. They had walked in only seconds earlier, curious to see the humans working. They didn't notice the danger above them. They were too busy laughing at Ethan. Time seemed to slow down. Ethan's mind moved fast, faster than he ever thought possible. He didn't think about the danger to himself. He didn't think about rules or protocol. He only thought one thing: they are going to die if I don't do something. He ran. His boots barely touched the ground because of the low gravity, but his human training kicked inches. He pushed off the floor with strong strides, moving faster than any alien expected a human could move. In low gravity, small effort creates big motion. Ethan's ordinary human strength, multiplied by Velmer 9 weak gravity, turned into something that looked almost impossible. He reached the alien cadets just as the beam was falling toward them. With both arms raised, he grabbed the beam midair. Normally, on Earth, catching a falling steel beam would be impossible. Here, in this world's gravity, the beam's true weight was much less, but it still carried enormous force from its fall. Ethan's muscles screamed in pain as he held it. His knees bent low. His boots slid slightly on the floor, but he did not let go. The 3 young aliens stared in shock, frozen in place. One of them, a girl with pale blue skin and wide eyes filled with fear, could not move. She had fallen backward onto the floor, staring up at the human who now stood above her holding tons of falling steel with his bare hands. Ethan's legs shook. Sweat poured down his face. He shouted, "Move! Now!" The aliens snapped out of their shock and scrambled away. Once they were clear, Ethan twisted his body sideways and let the beam fall safely onto an empty section of the floor. It crashed down with a loud bang, shaking the whole room. Dust filled the air. Silence followed. Nobody spoke. The only sound was Ethan's heavy breathing. Priya ran over to him. "Are you insane? You could have died." Ethan looked at his shaking hands. "I couldn't just watch," he said quietly. "Not when I could stop it." Outside the storage building, word spread fast. Alien cadets who had watched from the windows ran to tell their commanders. Some said human had lifted a support beam with his bare hands. Others said he had somehow controlled the metal using strange Earth technology. Rumors grew wild within minutes. By the time the Academy's senior commander, a tall Doven officer named Kaelrin Voss, arrived at the scene, the story had already changed several times. Some cadets swore the human had superhuman strength. Others whispered that Earth had sent a secret weapon disguised as an ordinary cadet. Commander Voss stared at the fallen beam, then at Ethan, who stood there, still shaking slightly, helping Priya check on the injured alien's minor scrapes. Voss's eyes narrowed. "You," Voss said, pointing at Ethan. "Explain what just happened." "Now." Ethan straightened up, trying to steady his breathing. "There was an accident, sir. The beam was falling. I stopped it before it hit your cadets." Voss studied him carefully. His voice was calm, but his eyes held deep suspicion. No human should be able to do that. Not without help. Not without enhancement. Ethan blinked, confused. "Enhancement? Sir, I don't understand." But Voss had already turned away, speaking quickly into his communicator, calling for a full report to Alliance Command. The words he used sent a chill through everyone listening. "We may have a serious security situation," Voss said. "Possible Earth military test. Unknown human capability. Requesting immediate investigation." Ethan had no idea that his simple act of bravery had just triggered something much bigger than a rescue. Somewhere far away, Alarms were about to sound. And soon, the entire alliance would begin whispering the same terrifying question. What if the humans really did send a weapon disguised as a cadet? Within hours, news of the incident spread across Velmer 9 Academy. Alien officers reviewed security footage over and over. They watched Ethan's movements frame by frame. His run, his jump, the way he caught the falling beam and controlled its landing. To human eyes, it looked brave, but simple. A man using quick thinking and strong effort to save lives. But to Doven eyes, trained to study strength and combat their whole lives, it looked like something impossible. Commander Voss called an emergency meeting with senior officers. A large holographic screen showed the recorded footage in slow motion. Voss pointed at the image of Ethan lifting the beam. "Look at this," Voss said. A human male, average build, no visible enhancement equipment, lifting and redirecting a falling steel beam with bare hands. This defies everything we know about human physical limits. One officer, a female dove named Threll, folded her arms. Perhaps it is simply the planet's gravity. Objects weigh less here. Voss shook his head. Gravity reduces weight. Yes, but it does not increase reaction speed like that. It does not explain the force needed to stop a falling object of that mass, even at reduced weight. There is something else happening. The room fell into tense murmurs. Someone suggested checking Ethan's medical records. Someone else suggested he might be wearing a hidden strength suit, a piece of technology some species used for combat. But scans of his uniform showed nothing unusual. No hidden wires. No mechanical parts. Just simple cadet clothing. This confused the officers even more. If he had no equipment, then how did he do it? Meanwhile, unaware of the growing alarm, Ethan and Priya were resting in guest quarters provided for the Orion Bridge crew. Ethan sat quietly, staring at his hands. He kept thinking about the accident. He kept replaying the moment in his mind. The fear, the sound of metal crashing, the alien girl's terrified eyes staring up at him. Priya sat across from him, watching him carefully. "You saved their lives," she said gently. "You should be proud, not worried." "I know," Ethan said, "but something feels strange. The way that commander looked at me, like I was dangerous." Priya frowned. "Maybe they're just shocked. Humans aren't exactly known for being strong out here." Ethan sighed. "Maybe. I just hope this doesn't turn into something bigger than it needs to be." But it already had. The next morning, Ethan and Priya were summoned to a formal meeting with Academy leadership. When they arrived, the room was filled with high-ranking officers, scientists, and even a representative from the Trade Alliance Council. The atmosphere felt heavy, almost like a courtroom. Commander Voss stood at the front. "Cadet Cole," he said, "we need to understand what happened yesterday. Please explain, in detail, what allowed you to perform such an act." Ethan felt nervous but tried to stay calm. "Sir, I just reacted. I saw the beam falling. I didn't think about strength or ability. I just moved." One of the alien scientists, a small, thin being with silver skin named Dr. Renil, stepped forward. "Our analysis shows the force required to stop that beam's momentum exceeds normal human capability by a significant margin, even accounting for reduced gravity. There must be an explanation." Ethan shook his head. Confused. I don't have one, sir. I'm just a cadet. I'm not special. I train like everyone else. The room grew quiet. Doctor. Renil exchanged a glance with Commander Voss. Then Renil said something that made Ethan's stomach twist. Perhaps it's not about training. Perhaps it's about the environment. Our records show that Earth military scientists have been researching stress-based strength triggers for over a decade. It's possible humans possess a hidden survival response, one that activates under extreme danger, especially when combined with reduced gravity environments like this one. Voss's eyes sharpened. Are you suggesting Earth intentionally sent him here, knowing this planet's gravity might trigger such a response? Renil hesitated. It's a possibility we cannot ignore. Ethan's heart pounded. Wait, that's not true. I didn't even know about this planet until a week ago. Nobody trained me for anything like this. But his protest did little to calm the room. Fear and suspicion had already taken root. To the Doven, humans were already seen as unpredictable outsiders. Now, this single act of bravery had planted a terrifying idea in their minds. What if humans were hiding something far greater than anyone imagined? Word of the meeting spread quickly through the Academy, then through the wider Alliance network. Within a day, reports reached other alien worlds. Some officials dismissed it as an exaggerated rumor. Others took it seriously, especially those who already distrusted humans. A message was sent to the Trade Alliance's main council, stationed on a distant space hub. The message read simply, possible undisclosed human military capability detected on Velmer 9. Recommend further investigation before human integration expands further into Alliance forces. Ethan had no idea that his single moment of courage had triggered a political storm far beyond the Academy walls. All he wanted was to help. Now, without meaning to, he had become the center of an interstellar mystery, one that would soon bring even more danger to his door. 2 days passed. Ethan was told he could not leave Velmer 9 until the investigation was complete. The Orion bridge crew was allowed to continue their route, but Ethan and Priya were held back for questioning. Priya volunteered to stay with him, refusing to leave her friend alone in a strange place. During this time, Ethan met the alien girl he had saved. Her name was Sela. She was young, still training to become a full soldier. She had pale blue-gray skin, deep violet eyes, and a quiet, thoughtful way of speaking. Unlike many of the older Doven soldiers, she did not look at Ethan with suspicion. She looked at him with curiosity, and something close to gratitude. She found him sitting alone near training yard window, watching alien cadets practice combat drills outside. You saved my life, she said softly, standing beside him. I have not properly thanked you. Ethan looked up, surprised. You don't need to thank me. Anyone would have done the same. Sela shook her head. No, many would not. On Velmer 9, we are taught that strength matters most. Weakness is often left behind. But you risked yourself for cadets you did not even know. Ethan smiled faintly. Where I come from, helping people isn't about strength. It's just the right thing to do. Sela studied him for a long moment. Is that truly how all humans think? Most of us try to, Ethan said. We're not perfect. But most people I know would help a stranger if they could. Sela sat down beside him. The commanders believe you are hiding some secret power. They fear Earth is preparing something dangerous. Ethan sighed deeply. I promise you, I'm not hiding anything. I'm just a normal guy who got scared and reacted. Sela looked at him carefully, her violet eyes filled with quiet thought. Perhaps that is the part they cannot understand. That an ordinary being, driven only by care for others, could do something so extraordinary without any hidden power at all. Her words stayed with Ethan long after she left. Meanwhile, the investigation intensified. Alliance scientists arrived from a nearby research station to run deeper tests. They asked Ethan to complete a series of physical trials, jumping height tests, lifting tests, reaction time tests, all designed to measure his true limits in Velmer 9, low-gravity environment. Ethan agreed, hoping it would prove there was nothing unusual about him, beyond simple human effort combined with the planet's unique gravity. During the trials, he performed well, better than average for a human cadet, but nothing that matched the extreme act from the accident. Under calm, controlled conditions, his jumps were strong but normal. His reaction times were quick but human. Dr. Renil reviewed the results with growing confusion. His baseline abilities are within expected human parameters. Yet, under extreme stress, his performance exceeded all calculated limits. This suggests it wasn't a hidden weapon or enhancement. It was something psychological. Emotional urgency, combined with adrenaline, combined with this planet's low gravity, created a rare, extreme physical response. Commander Voss frowned. You're saying fear and care for others made him stronger than any training could. Possibly, Renil said. Human stress responses are still not fully understood by our science. It seems, in moments of true danger to others, some humans access physical potential beyond normal limits. This planet's low gravity simply allowed that potential to become visible in extreme form. Voss remained silent for a long moment, processing this new theory. It contradicted everything the Doven believed about strength. To them, power came from training, discipline, and physical dominance built over years. The idea that raw emotion, especially concern for others, could unlock such strength was foreign, almost unbelievable. Yet the evidence was undeniable. It sat on video, replayed 100 times, undeniable and real. That evening, Commander Voss requested a private meeting with Ethan. When Ethan arrived, Voss studied him for a long moment before speaking. Cadet Cole, Voss said slowly, our science suggests your actions were not the result of hidden weaponry, nor secret Earth technology. It appears you simply acted with more courage and urgency than your body's normal limits should have allowed. Ethan nodded. That's what happened, sir. I never meant to scare anyone. I just didn't want your cadets to get hurt. Voss's expression softened slightly, though his tone remained formal. Many species believe strength defines worth. We measure warriors by muscle, by training, by dominance in battle. But what you did, it came from something different, something we do not fully understand. He paused before continuing. Perhaps this is why many underestimate humans. Not because you lack strength, but because your strength comes from a place we rarely consider. Care for others, even strangers. Ethan felt a mix of relief and humility. I'm just glad no one was seriously hurt. Sir? Voss nodded slowly. The official investigation will close soon. There will be no further suspicion of hidden weapons. But I suspect word of this incident will not be forgotten easily. Not by my cadets, and not by the wider alliance. He was right. Far beyond Velmer 9, in council chambers and military briefings across dozens of worlds, this small, personal act of courage was quietly becoming a legend, whispered about, debated, and slowly reshaping how many species viewed humanity. A week after the accident, the investigation officially closed. The Alliance Council issued a short statement, confirming there was no hidden weapon, no secret Earth technology, and no deliberate military plan behind the incident. It was, officially, an act of individual human courage combined with the unique physical conditions of Velmer 9, low-gravity environment. But officially closing, case does not erase the impact it leaves behind. Before Ethan and Priya were allowed to leave the academy and rejoin their ship's route, the entire cadet training yard gathered outside, waiting. Ethan stepped outside, expecting a quiet departure. Instead, he found rows of young Doven cadets standing at attention, along with several senior officers, including Commander Voss himself. Voss stepped forward. "Cadet Ethan Cole," he said loudly, his voice carrying across the yard. "On behalf of Velmer 9 Training Academy, we formally recognize your courage in preventing serious injury, or worse, to 3 of our cadets." He handed Ethan a small, engraved metal token, traditional symbol of honor among Doven warriors, rarely given to outsiders. "This is usually reserved for our own soldiers," Voss said. "But today, we make an exception." Ethan accepted it, feeling a strange mix of pride and humility. "Thank you, sir. I just did what felt right." Sela stood among the cadets, watching with quiet admiration. When the ceremony ended, she approached him one final time. "You have changed how many of us think," she said. "Not through power, but through choice. That is a rare kind of strength." Ethan smiled. Maybe that's the biggest lesson here. Strength isn't just about muscles or weapons. Sometimes, it's about choosing to act, even when you're scared. As Ethan and Priya boarded their ship to leave Velmer 9, word of the incident continued spreading far beyond the academy. It reached other Alliance worlds, sparking quiet conversations among species who had long underestimated humanity. Some still doubted, calling it an exaggerated rumor. Others began to wonder, quietly, if humans carried a hidden kind of strength, not in muscles, but in heart. Back on the ship, Priya glanced at Ethan as the planet shrank behind them through the window. "You know," she said, "you didn't just stop a beam from falling. You might have changed how they see all of us." Ethan looked out at the stars, thoughtful. "I hope so," he said quietly. "Maybe that's worth more than any weapon ever could be." And so, a simple supply mission, meant to deliver steel plates to a training academy, became something far greater. It became the story of an ordinary cadet who, in one desperate moment, showed an entire alien world that true strength isn't measured in power, but in the courage to protect others, no matter the cost. Here is the twist most people miss. The Doven never feared Ethan because he was strong. They feared him because he broke their entire belief system in 3 seconds. For generations, the Doven measured worth by muscle and training. Ethan proved that raw human instinct, driven by care for strangers, could outperform years of alien discipline. That truth scared them more than any weapon ever could. This ties back to the opening question. Was Earth hiding a living weapon? No. Earth had something far more unpredictable. Ordinary people willing to risk everything for strangers they just met. that is harder to calculate, harder to defend against, and far more powerful than any machine. Reports suggest this incident quietly reshaped Alliance policy on human integration, though official records remain limited. Sources within the Academy allegedly say Commander Voss later recommended closer cooperation with human cadets, believing their unpredictable courage could complement Dove discipline. Ethan never asked to be a symbol. He just wanted to help. But sometimes, one small act, done without hesitation, echoes across galaxies. If this opened your eyes to how humanity might be seen among the stars, you're going to want to see what happens next, because Ethan Cole's story doesn't end on Velmer 9. Let's recap what we learned today. A single human cadet, with no hidden weapon and no secret training, changed how an entire alien species viewed humanity. Not through strength, but through instinct and care. Low gravity revealed something science couldn't fully explain, and one act of courage rewrote Alliance beliefs about human potential. If this story pulled you in, hit that subscribe button right now, because we bring you brand new HFY Sci stories like this every single week. Stories where ordinary humans become extraordinary in the eyes of the galaxy. Drop a like if you believe courage matters more than raw power. And leave a comment below. We want to know, do you think humanity's greatest strength is our instinct to protect others, even strangers? Let us know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this story, check out our next video, where we dive even deeper into humanity's reputation across the stars, and why some alien species now call Earth the unpredictable world. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Stay curious, stay hopeful, and we'll see you in the next story.